Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and for the last 7 days, I've been driving the 2025 Lexus LC500 Convertible. Up front is a 5.0 liter V8, and down below is a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be filming this video here at night for two reasons. First of all, I have done the previous two model years of the LC500 Convertible, and honestly, not much has changed since then, so I wanted to switch up the video format just a little bit. But the second reason is that driving this car at night has been my absolute favorite thing to do, and so I thought, why not share my favorite part of the car with you in the video? But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that amazing 5-liter V8. Well, that is part of the main reason why the LC500 is so fantastic. Just getting up to speed here. Yeah, it sounds absolutely wonderful, and you feel that power too. 471 horsepower is more horsepower than you will ever need, but the LC500 gives you all of it whenever you want it. These V8s are also extremely reliable. You can build them, you can modify them, you can abuse them, and they will take the heat. Now, they do sell the LC500 with another drivetrain, which is the 3.5 liter V6 with a hybrid. And I've actually driven that car, and I do like the LC500H as well, but the V8 is where it's at, if for nothing else, sound alone. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 10-speed automatic. Again, this really helps out that 5-liter V8, because like the IS500 had an 8-speed that just wasn't very good, and I felt like that car was really harmed by that. This has the 10-speed, it has crisp downshifts, and as much as I love revving up the LC500, I think I love downshifting it even more. So we're currently in 7th gear, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. And then you get to have a bunch of fun with it. Last but not least, the LC500 is rear-wheel drive, and I have to say, I've driven LC500s. I've driven 4 of them so far, or at least had loans of 4 of them. I've driven them in the rain, I've driven them in the cold, I've driven them in the wet. Even though they are rear-wheel drive, they feel incredibly planted. You have so much confidence in this car everywhere you take it, even in inclement weather. It is absolutely amazing, and that is helped out by the traction control, of course. So how does it feel to drive the LC500? It's the best. And that's why this car is so amazing, because when you want it to be, it can be a cutthroat performance vehicle. But at another time, it can be a quiet, supple luxury car. If you never lay your foot into the gas, you would think this was as plush and as comfy as any other Lexus product, especially the LSs. But then when you lay into it, it changes everything, so let's lay into it. God, that's so good! That is so good! Ah! What a machine! What an absolute machine! I love it every time I get on that gas, on that throttle, after 4,000 RPM. It is just absolute bliss. There is nothing else I want to be in. The sound, the feeling, the just guttural reaction that you get. It's so primordial. I feel like I just took down a gazelle. I love it. It rewards you, and it will do that for you all day, every day. And yes, people ask me all the time in these videos, is that the stock exhaust? Yes, it is the stock exhaust in the LC500. It is absolutely beautiful. Oh, man, oh man. Visibility is decent, obviously less so when the roof is up, but I try to keep the roof down as much as possible to enjoy that lovely soundtrack. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me I have completely digital gauges. Now, nothing too new here. I think they're simple enough, I think they're easy enough to read, and I really like them. However, there is a button that you can hit to actually move the gauge cluster over to get additional information. I absolutely love that Lexus has retained this, and I think it's quite the lovely feature. On the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as our phone options, volume, and voice commands. And off to the right, we have our pre-collision warning, lane keep assist, cruise control, and skip track. We also do have paddle shifters around the back of the steering wheel, which is absolutely lovely. I always drive with my left pointer finger on the downshift paddle because I love hearing that sound. Up above the gauge cluster, we do have modes for our traction control off to left. So we have off and we have snow mode, which will actually heighten the traction control and limit throttle in first and second gear. And then off to the right, we have our drive modes for sport, normal, custom, comfort, and eco. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, our trunk release, head-up display, and gas cap release. And moving on to the door, we have 3 levels of memory seats, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get a pretty sizable infotainment display. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and this was updated for the 2024 model year. I really like this setup. The only thing that I don't like is when you hit the heated seat button, it completely takes over your center display. Now, you're probably only gonna hit the heated seat button once. It's not like an all day, everyday thing. But if you do want to keep adjusting it, you do have to keep getting rid of your radio or keep getting rid of your navigation, which some people really like to keep up. So that is a big downside. Down below that, we have another climate vent with the hazard switch, and then we do have physical climate controls. I do like the fact that it is not completely digital climate controls, just the heated and ventilated seats. And down below, we have our Mark Levinson badge for the Mark Levinson sound system. Mark Levinson, I think, is an absolutely fantastic sound system. I've loved it the entire week with it, and I love all vehicles that have it. Then we do have a tiny little cup holder. This fails the big friggin' bottle test, of course, but that's okay. And then we have this little badge here. This is the Lexus Bespoke Build. So Lexus allows you to pick all of the options that you want for your LC500, and they call it the Bespoke Edition. So that's why this interior is kind of like a really cool, like yachting blue and white. I really like that appeal, and you get your little badge here. Then we do have the shifter off to the left. Nothing too crazy about that. We do have auto holding brake. And off to the right, we have a couple interesting buttons. So we do have a camera view button. This is, again, new in 2024, where it actually has a front view camera, which is great because this car is kind of awkwardly long. So that definitely really helps out in that regard. And it also has a 360 camera now. So again, very cool to see. Then we have our volume, skip track, and seek, as well as our heated seat button. But again, all this does is just brings up the screen for heated and ventilated seats. Then we do have this little openable cubby that is for the power top operation. So hold this down and it will pull the top up or down. It is completely power, and it is a soft top, the only soft top convertible that Lexus has built. They've built 3 convertibles in their history: the SC430, the IS250/350, and this, the first 2 were hardtop convertibles, so this is a soft top. And as you'll notice, this soft top is blue, which I absolutely love. I have driven the hardtop. I prefer the soft top, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. Then we do have an opening center console. You will find USB-A as well as USB-C in here, so you do have some options, although honestly, not that many. The seats are very comfortable. They are heated, ventilated, power, and memory. I enjoy them quite a bit. They are more relaxed cruiser than sporty. However, I like that in a vehicle like this. Again, this vehicle is very two-faced. That performance is for sure there, but the comfortable isn't lacking either. So the seats really mimic that. Now, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, you guys already know what's gonna happen, but I feel some type of responsibility to show you. It does power move up, which is, you know, nice. There you go. Is that the money shot you were waiting for? Me going, ah! Well, there it is. Here's me going, ah! The back seats are terrible. Some of the worst back seats I've ever sat in. I don't care. I'm gonna get back to driving this car in a second. I did take a coupe on a road trip, about 1,200 miles. We put our backpacks and snacks back here. It worked great for that. Nothing else. Don't try to put kids back here. Don't try to put your niece or nephew back here if you ever want them to speak to you again. These back seats are terrible. I once put a friend back here. Haven't heard from him in a while. So, you know, that's how it goes. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll get back to driving this thing because that's what you really want to do. All right, around the back of the LC500, you do have a little trunk button right there, and there it is. I know it's kind of hard to see in the dark. There you go. There's with the flashlight. Not a whole lot of space. Again, we did take this on a weekend road trip, 1,200 miles. We were able to fit my backpack, my girlfriend's backpack, and a single duffel bag. That is it. So not a whole lot of trunk space. Again, not a great point of the LC500, but that's not why you buy this. So there it is. That's the trunk in all of its glory at nighttime. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I adore the look of the LC500. I think it's an absolute smash hit. I think it looks fantastic. It's striking from every single angle, and although this is a rather lame color, I don't love this silver color. I think it's a little bland. They have this color called Copper Crest that is an absolute showstopper. It's almost a rose gold, and please, if you buy an LC500, buy it in that color. It is delightful. It is shimmering in all the right spots, and I love that very, very much. I don't dislike the silver. I just think this car deserves a little bit louder of a color. And I do want to say that, well, okay, I actually have two more thoughts on the exterior. First of all, the convertible top doesn't ruin it. 99% of convertibles that I review, they look absolutely horrid once the roof is chopped off. The back never looks right. I'm looking at the 350Z. I'm looking at the 370Z. All right, so maybe it's just Nissan. But they actually did a really good job making this a coupe and convertible. I think they both look exceedingly handsome. The last thing I'll say about the exterior is the fact that I recently found the concept car photos of the LC500, and honestly, I can find very few changes, which rarely happens in the auto industry. It happened with the BMW i8, and it happened with these LC500, is that they actually kept 99% of the concept car when they finally put it into production. So that is very, very cool to see. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving another LC500 for the last week? This is always hands down my favorite week of the year. Any week that I get an LC500 is going to be a good week. And I have been incredibly fortunate to have now spent a month of my life with LC500s. This car is so incredibly good in every single way. It's amazingly comfortable. Every little nook and cranny is well thought of. The materials in here are fantastic. The sound deadening is great. I've done this whole review with the roof off just because I fucking can. But when the roof is up, it honestly does not feel like a soft top. It sounds like a hard top, sound deadened vehicle. The sound system, fantastic. Rear wheel drive, the sound that the V8 makes is wonderful. It's diabolical. It's a symphony in each ear canal. It swims its way through my head into my cranium and has stapled itself to my brainstem. The sound makes serotonin leak out of my head, and that's it. That V8 up front, that's the final crowning achievement of the LC500. Lexus is doing away with their V8s. The LS got rid of it for a twin-turbo hybrid. The IS500 is going away. This is their only vehicle that still has the V8. And I'm sure this car's days are numbered. I'm sure that they are. But right now, this car is actively fighting against hybrids. This is actively fighting against electrification. It doesn't want to do that. It wants that soundtrack. It wants to breathe fire. And it does. It still does it. This car is the star of an action movie in the final moments. They're scarred. They're bloody. Their shirt is torn. And they're giving that one final effort against the bad guys. That's what this engine is. That's what this car is. In Lexus's charge towards hybrids, this car is a big middle finger, and I love that. I love the pathos of this car. I love the spirit, the fighting spirit This car is amazing, and that's why it's the best car on sale. Is it $120,000? Yes, it is. And I will gladly pay, at some point in my life, every single nickel, dime, penny, and quarter required to fulfill that MSRP, because this car is truly worth it. There are many cars in this world and many cars on sale today that are not worth their price tag. This is a steep one, but like I said, every single cent is worth it for this car. This is the best car on sale right now, and I don't speak in hyperbole. I mean it. I have driven almost everything currently on sale, and this is the one that I keep coming back to. This is the one that keeps getting away, and one day I will finally own one. But until then, all I can do is appreciate this car for what it is in front of me. It sounds great, it feels great, it has great features, it looks amazing, and it checks every single box. Maybe it's not the perfect car for every situation, but this car is the perfect car for my life. Thank you, Lexus. Good night.